Hi, welcome to the first in the family topic unit for GCSE Sociology. So we're going to start off with lesson number 1, what is a family? So hopefully by the end of this lesson you'll be able to explain why there's an increase in maybe some different types of families in British society, be able to describe what a family is, what a household is, and look at some key family types. So on the slide you can see you've got some key concepts there which we're going to go through this lesson. But as a starter, think about how would you define a family? What kind of things do you think you need to have as for it to be classed as a family? So, some key definitions then. A family is all the people who are basically related to you through blood, marriage, or it could be adoption. Sometimes, obviously, these will be people who live with you, but not necessarily. This group of related individuals is sometimes called a kinship system. It's not used that often. Most people obviously use the term family. And the people who are related to you and live with you are your household. Now, some questions to kind of get you thinking is, do pets count as part of your family? Does it depend on the pet? Do you need children to be a family? Could you just be a couple? Are you a family if you're a couple? And do you need parents of both sexes to be a family? So these are all things to think about and think, right, okay, does this affect how people see families? So as an activity, what I would like you to have a go at, so if you're using this for revision, the group current year 11s, you did this as revision activity. No, you did it for homework. And some of you obviously came up with very vast family trees spanning multiple pages. So you need to think about things like parents, siblings, grandparents, aunties and uncles. And how has this family changed maybe over time? How's your tree looking? So have a go during this activity. So different family structures then. So there are two main types of families that you need to know about. First one would be your nuclear family. This is made up of traditionally a mother, father and dependent children. The husband and wife act out very traditional roles. The male is normally the breadwinner, which means they go out and earn the money, and the mum would generally do most of the caring role. The other family type that you need to know about would be an extended family. And this consists of parents, children, and it could be grandparents, aunts and uncles as well. So, these family members all will live under the same roof in the same household. But you could say you're still part of an extended family if you keep in close contact. So it could be through things like, obviously, modern communication. I know during lockdown, a lot of people kept in contact with their families through things like FaceTiming and obviously internet and things like that. But it also could be about transport and if you live fairly close and you can keep travelling to meet each other. So how does this differ depending on cultures then? So Asian families most typically would be nuclear families but do have very good close links with the extended family. Asian families, Bangladeshi and Pakistani families, they tend to be generally larger than some other ethnicities, may have more siblings, may be more likely to have good links with extended family as well. And Afro-Caribbean families, they're very much more likely to be matrifocal, so this means more likely to be a female is the head of the household, and some statistics show they are the more likely to be lone parent family groups. So, what other family types are there? Well, you could have cohabitation, where you're a couple. You could have reconstituted. You could have lone parent families, same-sex families, beanpole families, and empty nest families. So, we're going to look at what all these terms mean. So, you could do this as a kind of grid activity where you've got the types of family, a description, and an example. But you don't have to do it this way. Again, work through the PowerPoint at your own pace in terms of what works for you. So, cohabitation just means living together without being married. It's now quite a popular type of family. A lot of people, don't feel the necessity to get married anymore. Yeah, and about 12% of couples living together are unmarried, so it's quite a popular one. For examples, if you can kind of think of celebrities that might live together in a couple or even with children and are not married. And have a look at the graph. Why do you think so many people are living together now and not thinking about getting married straight away, or not getting married first like perhaps they would have traditionally done? So, reconstituted families. So obviously, rise of divorce in the last 50 years. A lot of couples will end up getting remarried to obviously new partners. And a reconstituted family is basically a step family with like step parents, step children. So Kardashians / Jenners are quite a good example of this. Obviously, two different parents in terms of this, like, oh, why am I over explaining this? So yeah, here is the Kardashian family tree, if you're interested. Lone parent families. So this is quite a fast growing type of family. I don't know why it's got a question mark on the end of that sentence. And what causes lone parent families? Well, this is something we're going to look at more as time goes on, but divorce obviously is increasing the amount. People just not choosing to get married. You know, you don't have to be married, and you know, you can now be just a single parent. Maybe the father's not wanting to be involved with the welfare of the child. And for most people, being in a lone parent family is generally only is a temporary thing. So the average is about 5 years. So same-sex families. Again, these only account for a really small percentage of family types, but they have increased. Civil Partnership Act was introduced, and this gave people equal rights. So as different gendered couples, so they could obviously adopt, things like this. And obviously technology has moved forward, so things like IVF and stuff has made it more possible for people from same-sex families to have children. Beanpole families. So, a bit more complicated, this one. So, rather than having a wide family tree, so lots and lots of siblings, some family trees end up being very tall and thin, like a beanpole. So, this is made thinner because people are having less children than they perhaps did in the past, and because people are living longer. Empty nest families. This is basically when children grow up and leave home. So it leaves the parents to live together in the family home, obviously with no children. Again, is on the increase as a result of like longer life expectancy. You know, parents are living, you know, well into their 80s and beyond. So, you know, there are increasingly more people living longer without children in the home. So those are your main family types. So as a kind of like little test your knowledge, see what you know. From the item, have a go. What percentage of people aged 60 plus thought that marriage was important? So I'm going to give you a second to have a think about it. And the answer is 65%. So, what about this one? So, from item G, what percentage of those aged 25 to 34 saw members of their extended family daily? So, again, should be a nice, easy question. I'll give you a second to think about it. Answer is 2%. Oh, wait. No, ignore me. I don't know. No, it is 2%. Ignore me. I'm clearly, you know, sleep deprived. So, what I'd like you also to have a go at is, this is a nice practice question to kind of get your brain thinking. So, explain what sociologists mean by cohabitation. So, for 1 mark, you basically need a statement about partnerships, something like that. For 2 marks, it's going to be a partial kind of explanation, not enough detail, so you might talk about people living with a partner. And for 4 kind of marks, it needs to be a lot more developed, clear explanation, and talking about what's the differences between a cohabitation maybe and a married couple. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to have a go at doing that question. So in the exam, if it's 4 marks, again, you roughly want to be spending about 4 minutes on it. So what I do suggest is maybe pause in the video, have a go at it before I go through what a kind of ideal answer would look like. Pause. So, this is one that we have looked at together. So cohabitation is where a couple lives together without being married. That is your first mark. Where marriage is a legal binding. So that is where you've talked about what the difference is. So marriage is legal, whereas cohabitation obviously isn't. Recently, cohabitation has increased because Britain's become more secular. Due to this, people are not following religious teaching. So it's giving you some explanation of why cohabitation, is on the increase. And then this definitely is a more dated example because I think they've split up. But an example of cohabitation would be Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. So yeah, that kind of gives you some rough ideas how you would get your marks for that question. So thanks very much. If you've got any questions, please get in contact and hope you're all well. Thanks. Bye.